Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Throwaway Edited Pic from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit and says, Am I the arsehole for refusing to replace a picture I posted with an edited version of it? My father's girlfriend is very active on social media. She usually makes at least 2 Instagram posts a day. I'm fairly certain she's trying to become an influencer. Well, I don't care much for that. One thing I've noticed is that almost every picture she posts is photoshopped in some way. Sometimes she makes her waistline smaller, other times she airbrushes her face. Sometimes she does both. I don't know how noticeable it is to other people, but both me and my husband can always tell. My birthday was this weekend. I had a baby a few months ago and I haven't had time to do much. So last week, my friends and family threw a surprise birthday party to celebrate both my birthday and my first year of being a mum. I later made a post on Instagram thanking everyone, in which I included several pictures from the party. A few hours later, my father called me to ask if I could add a picture that featured his girlfriend to the post I made. I was frustrated but deleted it and reposted it with a picture of me, my husband, our baby, my father and his girlfriend. It was the only one I had of her at the party. Hours after that, his girlfriend sent me a Photoshop version of the picture and asked if I could replace the one I'd posted. She had changed her waistline, retouched everyone's faces and whitened our teeth. I said no. While she's free to post whatever she wants on her socials, I don't want an obviously photoshopped picture on mine. She argued the picture I had posted would clash with the ones on her page, and she didn't want her followers to see her like that. I reminded her that my account is private, and the only people who will see my post are friends and family who already know what she looks like. When she kept insisting, I told her she either accepted the unedited picture or I'd remove it from the post entirely. My father wants me to humor her. He says it would take little to no effort on my part to replace the picture. I'm aware of that, I just don't want to do it. I didn't even want to include the picture in the first place. I only did it because they wanted me to. I'm busy this week and dealing with this has become very annoying. Am I the arsehole? I think, it's your social media, you have control of it, you can post whatever you want on there. I think if someone came up to me and told me they just wanted themselves removed or whatever, I would have no problem with that. But, you've done this once, you've replaced the photo with her in it, and then she's went away, retouched the photo with, it sounds like, not just herself, but she's retouched everyone else at the same time, which to me is just bloody rude and would annoy me at the same time and say, no, I'm not doing that. And it's not going to clash with the ones on her page because you said your account is private, so it's going to make no odds to her. Like you said, everyone's already seen her, so it's going to make no difference. And your dad saying the humor is the equivalent of but family. But Not Creative says not the arsehole. She's free to post whatever Photoshop version of reality she wants. But on yours, you can post the real photos with a real thick waist and her yellow teeth. It's your wall, not hers. It's private, so she doesn't have to worry about her followers seeing, unless they're a handful of people who follow you both. Opie says, I see my social media more as a photo album than anything else. I wouldn't want to put things that aren't real or didn't happen on an album. I also want to add that she's a fairly skinny woman with normal, clean teeth. From my perspective, there's no reason for her to edit her pictures like this. Mana Kitten says not the arsehole, but your mistake here is giving in and posting the pic in the first place. If your dad wants her featured in pics of the event, he can post to his social media. It's not your job to further her influencer career. And honestly, if it's as bad as you describe, she won't succeed anyways. I would have a talk with your dad. Set some boundaries and guidelines now, so if in the highly unlikely event she gets famous, you're not forced to help boost her posts. For free, I might add. If I'm posting for you, I'm getting paid. Lol. Scarlet Nightingale says not the arsehole, honestly. I'd just take down the one that includes her at this point and put back the original. If she complains again, tell her how she doesn't have to worry about anything clashing with her aesthetic, Photoshop fake, on her page. Especially as she chooses to Photoshop you and everyone else in addition to herself. If she keeps pushing you, ask her why she felt that you were in need to photoshopping too. Because you're okay with what you look like, but obviously she feels that you are lacking. And a final comment from Analog Weapon, who says, not the arsehole. Even if she only photoshopped herself, I would say you wouldn't be the arsehole for refusing to replace the image. It's your page, it's private, her options are that she can be included in the image you have available, or you can remove it. But especially the fact that she photoshopped other people in the image. That's nuts. Why do they all have to participate and have anyone who can see it assume that they're the type of people who would do that? A lot of people would actually be somewhat understandably insulted by such an action. It implies they don't look good in real life. That's as much a breach as posting someone's image against their wishes. F that. Little side story about Photoshop and editing images before we do go into that update. When we lost one of our loved ones, we had someone who hired someone to do to try and do a nice Photoshop photo of that person as gifts for us all and a way to remember them, etc. And I don't know if the person who gifted us these photos was oblivious to that they were just badly photoshopped or whatever, but we received these pictures and it was obvious that the teeth had been replaced. And the way they must have done this is by overlapping like a photo of someone else and then masking it and deleting the rest, because also you could notice on the very side of their face next to their eye was like an arm from some glasses, but the rest of the glasses were deleted. So we all received these photos and we're all stood there looking at them, and in my head I'm thinking, fuck me, what's this? And I'm just like slightly lifting my head to look at everyone else who's looking at the photos, who's just sort of nodding. But that was a weird situation, like seeing someone that they almost look different. They almost look completely different. And we later discussed, and I think everyone else noticed that the teeth were completely different and was like, what the fuck? And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't chuckling in my head when I saw that image, because it was just so out there. Like someone's just like, who's not very good at Photoshop doing this kind of shit, man. It was wild. So OP comes in with her update 12 days later and said, I decided to follow your advice. A few days after I first posted here, I removed the picture. My post on Instagram now looks exactly the same as it did before my father made me include his girlfriend. I did so because she was still asking me to switch the pictures. She had begged, sent me an alternate version in which she only edited herself. Lie. Everyone's teeth were still whitened and tried to guilt trip me about it. I consider myself to be a very patient woman, but I do have limits. That's when I removed the picture. I think she was checking my post because she texted me about an hour later asking why I'd changed it. I reminded her I'd promised to remove the picture if she didn't accept the unedited one. My father later tried to convince me to repost it, but I told him I'm not doing that again. When he protested, I told him to stop and think about the fact that he was complaining about a social media post on a private account. I think he did because he apologized for the drama and stopped bringing it up. I did get a few more texts from his girlfriend asking me to reconsider, which I replied that since she doesn't want any real depictions of her online, I will never include her on my social media again. I think she's still upset, but she's no longer bothering me about it. Also, I took the opportunity to remind all parties that only me and my husband are allowed to post pictures of our child online, just in case. Thank you for all your advice. And one commenter says to OP after this one, saying she sounds unhinged and insufferable. OP says, I don't hate her, but her behavior annoys me very often. As someone who barely uses social media, it feels like we live in two completely different worlds. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. From Fangon Dweller, who says, would I be the arsehole here if I told my friend his online bully is his girlfriend? I, 30 female, know a couple. Let's call them Blair, 28 female, and Ben, 30 male. I've known both of them separately before they met and started dating. They were in love pretty fast and became a couple. We always thought they were perfect for each other, both attractive, fun, energetic people who were crazy about each other and also great friends to the rest of us. Important note, we are all from different countries living as expats in a country. So, after a while, Ben had some family problems back home, which required him to fly back to be with his family. But this would be temporary. Blair has always been great, supportive and understanding towards Ben. He would always go around saying how happy he was and how proud he was of his relationship. I met Blair recently for a little girl's outing. It's been about 5 to 6 months since Ben left. After a few drinks, she told me that she had made a fake Instagram account to test her boyfriend. I thought it was weird, but I didn't say much. She said he didn't reply and blocked the fake account, which should have been the end of her test, in my opinion. But she continued to tell me that she used another fake account to add him and call him names like ugly, good for nothing, etc., etc. Pretty bad stuff. I was flabbergasted and could not believe what the fuck was happening. I asked her why on earth she'd do such a thing. Her explanation was that she is the best girlfriend he can have, and she just wanted to remind him how great she is so he can appreciate her more. She wanted to show him how horrible the dating pool is and he should hold on to her tight. I told her this was insane and she needs to stop, but she continued to tell me that no, and this is nothing harmful. Ben had told me about a fake account messaging him, but I didn't know it was her. Ben assumed it was his ex, who was proven to be a stalking weirdo, but now I know it's not her. It's actually his loving girlfriend. I told Blair she needs to stop and I would love to help her work on the issues that make her act like this. I tried to explain how this will eventually ruin her relationship and Ben's confidence as well. But she's not listening. So I told her if she didn't stop, I would go ahead and tell Ben everything. I have screenshots of discussing this matter over text, how she's not willing to stop. Would I be the arsehole if I told Ben everything? My boyfriend says Ben needs to know, and I totally agree because nobody deserves to be treated this way. But some of my friends back home told me not to tell him, but instead convince her to come clean, which I've been trying but to no avail. So would I be the arsehole here? Edit. This has been a shocking event for me. We all thought she was a great person all this time. Never even crossed our minds that she'd even think such things, let alone act on them. It hasn't been very long since I found out about this, about a week or less. I waited this long to give her the chance to come clean on her own and figure out a way to break it to Ben gently. If the roles were reversed, I'd still give a man the same chance. Which isn't really my point of posting this, but I appreciate the comments and wanted to clarify my position in this. Thanks to your encouragement, I feel much more confident in telling him everything about possibly facing her later. My boyfriend and I messaged Ben and arranged a video call, so we'll tell him everything soon with the evidence. We'll post an update. Thank you all so much. So Mac Dover says on this one, you challenged her on it. What exactly did she say to that? Opie says, when I said if she didn't stop I would tell Ben, she just stared at me and asked why. At this point I'm convinced that she is so far off the grid that she can't even see what's wrong with what she is doing. I told her it's absolutely insane and argued for about an hour and she kept saying, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a fake account, while laughing. After that night, which was about a week ago, I've been pestering her with my texts and telling her if she doesn't stop and come clean, I'll tell Ben. She turned on me and messaged my boyfriend something like, Opie wants to talk to Ben. Can you keep her out of my relationship? But my boyfriend already knows everything. This whole thing made me think that once challenged, she will turn on anyone. Shake my head. These relationship tests are so crazy, and I know we always see the worst of Reddit, but I've never ever seen one do anything positive in these stories. I know we probably wouldn't, but it always reminds me when we see relationship test stories of the one where the boyfriend invites his girlfriend to come round and visit the family for the first time, and he's got a brother as well. And during dinner, the whole family basically leaves, but leaves the brother with the girlfriend, and he starts flirting with her. I can't remember, I think he might touch her leg or something like that. I can always remember thinking of that moment and thinking, what in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre family is this? But absolutely for Opie in this situation, Ben deserves to know the truth here. Big Pooper 2 says, great name by the way, if she is doing weird shit like that, I think it is only a sign of what's to come. You got to tell Ben so he knows the BS that could happen in the future. And just jumping in again, what I find doubly sad about this is in the middle of the post it mentioned that, you know, his ex was proven to be a stalking weirdo. So he's already gone through that. He's having to deal with a current girlfriend who's testing him on this. It's, you know, it's going to damage his outlook on relationships. Hot Fox says, not the arsehole. Ben deserves to know that he's dating a nasty, manipulative psycho bitch. At least then he'll be able to leave and find a normal girl who doesn't try and destroy her boyfriend's self-confidence just to keep him tied to her. Glad Promotion says, not the arsehole. Isn't this domestic abuse? Since his girlfriend is quite literally abusing him verbally but not directly. And while I get this doesn't seem like an issue right now, if she's willing to verbally abuse her lover to try and make him more dependent on her, that sounds really weird and creepy. Imagine what else she could do if she thinks he isn't appreciating her enough. And a final comment from Chef Steph, who says, you're the arsehole if you don't tell him. Call him right now and let him know what she's been doing, and send him all the messages you have between you and her about this. God only knows what else she has done. Is she sending his family messages like this, taking money from his bank accounts, screwing with his job? She basically said she wants him dependent on her and she's the best he can ever get. There's no redemption for that level of crazy. Update us, please. So then OP comes in with her update and says, first off, thank you for encouraging me to be a better friend. I don't like confrontation and I shy away from anything that's dramatic like this. I also want to apologize for the overdue update, but life was crazy for me, so here's the update. After about 5 to 6 hours of my post, we had a phone call with Ben. My boyfriend was there with me to break the news to him. First, I asked Ben whether the fake accounts were still messaging him or not. He said no, not for a week or so. Then I told him the messages were being sent by Blair, and she told me this herself. He didn't understand at all. I told him everything, the girls' night out Blair and I had, and she told me what she was doing and why. I asked her to stop, but she didn't see the point, etc, etc. As I was explaining, I saw my friend Ben losing the spark in his eyes, and I saw the devastation settle in. The horror was real for him. And when I was done telling him everything, there was a moment of silence. My boyfriend told him if he needed or wanted for us to help him in any way, we'd be more than happy. He thanked us for telling him everything and wanted us to keep this a secret from Blair. He didn't want her to know that he now knew everything. He said he needed some time to figure stuff out since it's all a big shock now. I sent him whatever evidence I had and we ended the call. We didn't hear from Ben again for a couple of days. One night he called my boyfriend to ask his help with retrieving a box from his and Blair's apartment. He said Blair would be home to let us in and we can take the box after checking the contents of it. He gave us a list of all the things that should be in the box. When we arrived, Blair was there with the box, but she seemed off. I asked her how she was doing and she said not very well because the antidepressants were weighing on her. She self-diagnosed and started taking unprescribed, illegally obtained antidepressants. I said antidepressants could be dangerous to take on your own due to the side effects, and she really should ask a doctor before taking them. She brushed me off and gave us the box and shut the door on us. We called Ben and told him the box was with us and asked if he wanted us to send it to him. He said to just keep it safe until he was back. He came back to the country 3 days ago. He went to see Blair and they had a huge falling out. He confronted her with everything I gave him and she said it was his fault for being absent. Ben said he would be willing to try and understand and help her if she didn't blame him. After all, it's not his fault that his father is dying and he has to be there for his family. He came to fix things, but her reaction blew up everything. He took the remaining belongings and left the house. He's now staying in our spare bedroom. The man is devastated. In the past 2 days, Blair had been blowing up social media with lies, posting things about how Ben cheated on her while he was supposed to be helping his family, saying he's always been 1 foot out the door and she is better off without him. She should never have lowered her standards for him, etc, etc. Ben is not a social media person, so he just deactivated his accounts and is now trying to heal. She's called me to curse at me multiple times. We now all blocked her numbers and her socials. Ben will be staying here with us until he flies back home in the upcoming weeks. I tried to help both of my friends and now I'm helping my only friend in this situation. I text Blair's cousin to let her know that she's taken unprescribed antidepressants, acting erratic and should see a doctor, and that was it. I don't like this at all. I don't want to be in the middle of all of this, but Ben needed to know the truth. For Ben, he still feels betrayed and shocked, but he also feels that it was for the best and that this would come to an end since he cannot trust her anymore. I guess that this is the end of my update. The relationship ended, the friendship ended. We don't know what she plans to do next. Thank you again for encouraging me to help my friend. Like I said before, I'm not one for confrontation. I feel sad for the way things turned out, but I guess it is what it is. All in all, watch out for fake accounts. So OP replied to some additional comments. Scary Cycle says, you should be another friend and post your own social post. Tag in Blair's post. Don't just spill everything, but just say that Blair's account is full of lies because Ben never cheated. And whoever of your friends want the truth can contact you directly and you will show them all the proof. OP says I asked Ben if he wanted us to post online about her insane lies and he said, not just yet. Some of his friends are collecting some more evidence from her posts and from the abusive text she sent. I think there will be a public post online with the evidence once they have enough. Also, I saw some screenshots of her post via mutual friends and it seems like the comment section isn't going as well as Blair expected. People are questioning her and asking her for evidence, which she does not have. I got a couple of people commenting on her post saying she's lying and she was bullying Ben. She's bitter and called me a bunch of names for ruining her relationship. Most of our mutual friends know the story now because they called us and Ben. Also last night, Ben, my boyfriend and I went out for some drinks and saw many of our friends. So on most ends, her posts are being perceived as a bit of reaction to her losing in her own little game. OP was told that she's a good friend and that she tried to help Blair as well. OP says thank you so much. I really tried to help Blair so many times, but she refused my offers. I can honestly say I did my best as a friend and now we're no longer friends. I do not regret anything. I am just sad that a person I valued as a friend turned out this way. And yeah, I felt obligated to tell her family that she's not doing well. I'm not responsible for her, but she obviously needs some serious help. And her family should take over from here. Her cousin and I talked about her alarming situation. She didn't know, and apparently her family had no idea either. So I guess that's up to them now. I saw a couple of comments on this discussing and about how Blair normalized her behavior herself, that she normalized it so much so that when she went on a girls' night out with OP, that she thought it was just like a little fun conversation, like, haha, I'm testing my boyfriend by making fake accounts and trying to make him dependent on me. How mad is that? OP did absolutely the right thing. You know, many of us don't like getting into confrontation, don't like being in the middle of things, but OP did absolutely the right thing. Even as far as, you know, telling Blair's family about what's going on with her, with that she's self-diagnosed and she's taking medication that she's got from somewhere. Because there can certainly be side effects that's having this effect. As always, never an excuse. What her behavior was shitty, she deserves to be called out for it, etc, etc. She might just be an arsehole. But just in case, I think OP did the right thing there. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.